Hi, my name is Michael Harvey. I'm a Deakin IT undergraduate student working on SIT313 mobile computing. This is my Android application idea, PhobiaVRClear. PhobiaVRClear is an Android app that is a list of phobias and recommended VR treatments. It monitors your anxiety level. Each recommended app has been handpicked from the Google Play Store that allows you to slowly work through your fears. VR tricks your visual senses. This trickery overtakes your senses and you feel and react as if you're in a situation without the risk. The exposure theory is used by many doctors to treat phobias. Combining VR and exposure theory, doctors are treating patients. I want to bring this experience to you in the comfort of your home. After some research, I have listed the applications from the Play Store which have similar ideas but don't combine VR and anxiety testing. I'll run through some of these applications and explain how I will and will not use some of these in my PhobiaVRClear application. So in this part of the actual video where we actually show the actual applications that we actually decided, I've actually pulled over, and so you can see this one here is called Fears and Phobias. The problem with this one, of course, is it's only text based, but it actually lists all the phobias, and this is something I'd like to show in my application. I'll get the in my application, I'll make sure the text is right, and for some reason the text is very small in this application. Next we've got a thing called an anxiety test application, which I'd like to base my application on as far as the anxiety test is concerned. And what you get is just a basic couple of questions that you go through and you answer, and it actually gives you a bit of a score at the end, but the score's not the important bit. The bit is to actually work through those questions, just make sure that you're happy with how you're feeling. So once again, you start the test, keeps a record of the information, and then you give like whether you're happy, how often you've felt anxious or whatever. Answer the questions and it gives you a result. I may even tailor the questions so as they actually relate to the phobia that we're talking that the person has done the test or has done the VR application for. So here is a couple of examples of VR phobia test applications that have already been built. The first one is actually probably one where I wouldn't put into my application because it shows that the treatment doesn't actually have levels of testing, and also there's no safety restrictions in actually the test. So this one I wouldn't put into my application. Yeah, VR heights phobia. I mean, it starts off well. It actually gives you like safety guides, that type of thing. But the problem, of course, here is that it just doesn't protect you or protect the actual client from, or the person using the software from experience too much fear all of a sudden. So a couple of good examples is virtual speech and spider phobia, and these were probably the ones I would actually point my application at, because they actually go through and take levels of control and say, well, firstly we'll example with the spider phobia. You actually get the first level. You actually get a small spider in an actual jar away from you, so you have the time and effort to actually learn to actually accept that spider. The other thing I like about spider phobia is actually it prompts you all the time to make sure that you're okay. As you can see here, there's the levels. Very simple, but at least it gives you a guide of what's going to happen. You're going to sit at a table. So level 1, now you actually get a spider in a jar away from you. And you've got to look at the spider, and the actual timer will keep going until you actually have looked at the spider long enough. And I said, this is a good test to make sure that people have overcome that first step of being in a room with a spider. And then you just rank how you feel. What I want to do is actually, once they've done their first test, make them come back into my application, take on the anxiety test to make sure that they're happy, and then if they want to, they continue and do another level. This mock-up of PhobiaVRClear, as you can see, is the application list of phobias and possible VR applications to install and test against. If phobia doesn't have if the phobia doesn't have a VR application built or doesn't meet the required level of testing, the warning icon is displayed against the phobia. Once you've completed the first level, you can take the anxiety test and the data will be stored for further testing. This is a Gantt chart of the application displaying the task, days and complete dates, which will be completed a couple of days prior to the final submission. Reference to the journal papers on phobia treatments and VR uses in this area. Thank you.